Hello, this is Amanda for Fairy Stamper, and today we are going to make a swinging card. Now, I have made a swinging card before when we were making videos for Lavinia stamps, but I thought I would make another one, and this time because Tiana sits on her swing, and I just thought it was just so perfect. So we are going to make another one, and I'm going to make the mechanism a little bit different this time. It might be a little bit easier. So let's get started. I'm going to make a spray ink background, and I'm starting with some Dylusions ink sprays, and I'll also be using some Oxide ink sprays. Yes, you can mix dye ink sprays and Oxide ink sprays. So I started off with the Funky Fuchsia. Now I'm using the Crushed Grape, and then this is the Calypso Teal. Now I'm going to switch into some oxides. We're starting off with the Sponge Sugar, which doesn't show up a whole lot, but it does kind of lighten the colors a little bit. And we're going to use some Shaded Lilac. And lastly, some Mermaid Lagoon. And then I'm going to take another piece, and this both of these pieces of paper are Fabriano hot press watercolor paper. And I'm just going to smush them together. And this is going to give me two backgrounds for one. I love to get two backgrounds for just one piece of work, or however you want to put that. So this kind of did a little weird thing at the top there, and I think it's because I was doing it inside the box. So we are going to do some more spray backgrounds here. When I'm going to get inky and dirty, I'm going to do it good. I'm going to make a lot of backgrounds. So I'm going to speed this video up and just kind of have you watch me make several backgrounds here. For the rest of them, I'm going to take them out of the box when I smush them together, and that gives me a lot better results. We are going to go back at the end of spraying all these backgrounds, and I'm going to fix those first two and fix the top so they're not so funky. So we're just going to keep spraying, and I'm not going to list out the colors every time because I'm going to be using the same exact colors every time. But obviously with spray backgrounds, you don't get the same results every time. Everyone's going to look a little bit different. So I think I sprayed 4, I believe, but I get 8 backgrounds because I'm smushing them together like this. So I think we're going to do one more. I believe this is the last one. There might be one more after this. I don't remember. So yeah. So like I said, I do like to do multiples since I'm already getting my hands all inky and yucky, but I think it's fun. The inkier your hands get, the more fun you've had, in my opinion. I don't know. Some people don't like their hands being all inky and yucky. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you mind it or you don't mind it as far as hands getting yucky. So here is how I went back and fixed those two at the beginning that had that funny spot at the top. I just used the excess ink here, and I'm just gonna dab it up and kind of fix the top. Just do some ink smushing. All right, so we're gonna get to some stamping here. I'm using the Fairy Swing to begin with. I'm stamping it in VersaFine Clair in Nocturne. And I've just got some 80-pound Nina Solar White. I keep all my little scraps, and I do my stamping on that. And so I'm just going to stamp that out here. I got a good impression the first time. And I'm going to line Tiana up, put her on her swing, make sure her hands are lined up on the ropes. And I'm going to stamp her out. And I did not get a good impression on this first one, so we are going to have to stamp her a second time. So I'll get her stamped out this first time, and then I realize, oops, didn't get that stamped good enough. So we're going to have to stamp her a second time. I'm going to set this aside, and then we're going to stamp the dragon fruit branch. Yes, that is what it's called, the dragon fruit branch. We're using 110 pound, Nina Solar White cardstock for this one. I do have a method to my madness here. And I had to stamp that one twice as well. And then I'm going to take these over to my scan and cut and have it cut those out. So for Tiana, I did cut her out on the scan and cut, and then I had it cut 2 additional die cuts that were not stamped out of 110-pound cardstock, and I stacked that up. And for the branch, I just cut 1 additional 110-pound cardstock piece and stacked that up. I wanted Tiana to have a little bit more dimension. And the fairy branch, or the dragon fruit branch, I didn't want so much dimension, but I did want it to be sturdy. Now for Tiana, I'm taking a scrap piece of acetate here, and I am sandwiching that in between 2 of the layers and gluing that in between it. And I'm going to set my stamp position on top of that and let that dry. Once it was dry, I am taking some Wilted Violet and some Mermaid Lagoon to match the background, and I'm just going to ink blend that on there. And obviously this is probably not going to line up exactly where I want it, but I'm going to roughly put her in place and kind of ink blend that on the sides of her, where she would kind of match up with the purples and the blues in the background that I chose to work with today. The other 6 or 7 or how many other backgrounds I have, I'm just going to put those aside and use them at another time. So I'm going to ink blend the Mermaid Lagoon on the other side. And it doesn't matter if this lines up, like I said, because she's going to move. It doesn't matter. I just don't like the stark white against the bright, vibrant background. You will notice when I put the fairy on there that I probably shouldn't have put the purple on the tops of the ropes, because there isn't purple up there. It's mostly blue. But that's fine. Like I said, I just didn't like the stark white. So I'm going to do the same with the dragon fruit branch. Just going to get rid of that stark white there and ink blend the Wilted Violet and the Mermaid Lagoon on the various parts of the white parts of the branch. Now I'm going to color these off screen. Tiana doesn't really have anything to color, but I am going to color the dragon fruit branch on the little leaves and the little fruit pieces. But first we're going to do some I believe it's called ink bleaching. Not really sure, but we're going to remove some of this color that I've added to the leaves, because I'm going to color the leaves green, and green and purple make brown, and I do not want to make brown. So I'm going to just take some clean, clear water on a paintbrush and just paint that over the leaves. And because Distress inks are water reactive, this is going to take away some of that color. And it's just going to do it slowly. You're not going to see it right away here, but as we progress here a little bit, you will start to see that it bleach out a little bit, and so that is going to help when I go over these with my Arteza Real Brush pens. It won't turn brown. You can kind of see it here in the video. That first purple leaf was starting to turn white. It won't remove the color completely, but at least it won't turn brown. So I didn't show all of that on camera because it did take a few minutes, and I figure you kind of get the point. I'm just painting water on a leaf, no big deal. So now I am taking a hole punch, and I'm just going to punch a hole about where I want my mechanism to be for the swing to go back and forth. And we're just going to punch a hole there. I'm going to cut off that excess acetate here in a second. I'm just trying to figure out exactly how long I need it. And then I'm going to round the corners so it doesn't catch on anything, because it is square. I don't want the corners to to catch on anything. So I'm just taking my corner rounder and kind of rounding it. I'm going to go in with my scissors and kind of perfect that a little bit more. It doesn't need to be pretty. I just don't want the corners to catch on that branch when it goes back and forth. Next, I'm taking a piece of foam tape, and I have doubled it over. And now I have, because I doubled it over, I have the release paper on both sides. And I'm going to take my crocodile punch and punch a hole through that foam tape, essentially making my own foam dot. I don't have foam dots, so I'm making my own. You could use a brad. That's what I used in my other one. Like I said, I will have the other video where I did this linked in the description. I'll have it linked in the iCards as well. I did use a brad for that one, so if you are more comfortable using that technique, it works as well. I just thought I would use another technique. I saw this on Jennifer McGuire's videos, and I thought that I would give this one a try, and this worked pretty well too. So this is going to be my mechanism behind the card. It is a pendulum type mechanism, and so this weight is a penny, and it is going to help it swing. So I'm just going to remove the release paper from my homemade foam dot. Of course, if you have foam dots, feel free to use them, but I did not have foam dots, so I created my own. I'm struggling here with the release paper for a second. Just give me a minute. I'll get that off, and I'm going to stick that back through the card. I'm going to stick my mechanism on the back. I don't think it matters which way you put the penny. If you want to put it towards your card front or towards the back of the card, I don't think it really matters. So you can see how well it swings here. It swings really well. And then I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of this branch to cover up my mechanism so you can't see that clear part. I think if you had something that didn't have two ropes like this swing, you would already have a way to, you'd have a built-in way to cover your mechanism. But because I wanted to use the swing, I didn't have a way to cover up the mechanism. I needed a clear piece of acetate to make my swing, if that makes a sense. Because two pivot points would be too hard to make it swing. I hope that makes sense. All right, so I covered the back of my card here in foam tape, and I think 2 layers of foam tape would have been better, because you'll see here in a second when I show you this, it doesn't swing as well as it did before. So 2 layers of foam tape would have been better, but since I used 2 or 3 layers of foam tape to pop up that branch so it wouldn't impede my swinging, I had some problems. All right, so that finishes my card today. I hope that you enjoyed it. All the products will be linked in the description box below. All the links to everything will be in the description box below. Facebook group, all that good stuff. And my personal links will also be in the description box below. I would love it if you followed me on my channel. I would love it if you subscribed to the Fairy Stamper channel. And as always, have a great day.